Welcome back. Week 12. We're getting there. We are getting there. Only 1 week left because it's been a leap year. This week we're at Summit Point Raceway. And strength of field is 1550. So the highest pretty much that we've seen in my best race of a week. So let's check out my qualifying lap. Now I really enjoy this track. In my last video I made the mistake of saying I raced this at the start of the season. I didn't. I raced it right at the end of the previous season. So I started iRating in the last week of season 3 of 2024. So I got 1 week in with Summit Point, and then it moved on to season 4. So I have raced this track before a long time ago, and I enjoyed it then, and I'm enjoying it again now. It's a really nice little track, good for racing on. First time I raced this track I was absolutely bricking it. The strength of field was much lower, inevitably, because I'm a season in now and I'm doing a lot better. But yeah, really fun track. Fortunately this time round I got a better qualifying lap time than previously, which is good to see because it's a good benchmark for improvement with same car, same track, same conditions pretty much. But yeah, 121. So qualified in P3 on the grid, which is good. Gives me a fighting chance of finishing in the top 10. Got off to a decent start. My starts have got a lot better over the season. I don't do anything fancy with the clutch. I've just worked quite hard on getting the revs right when I dump it into first gear when the green lights come on. And I've tried a few techniques to make my reactions faster. So going to start looking at some clutch stuff, I think. See if I can just add a few milliseconds onto my start time. So started out in third, maintained third through the first couple of bends, which is good. It can be carnage around here, especially this corner in the first lap, because this seems to be where everybody kind of bunches up again. But first lap here, made it through. Not so much for 1 or 2 of the cars behind me. They had a little bit of a boo-boo, but I'll throw that replay into the highlights at the end of the video. And just for those of you that have the attention span of a goldfish, don't worry about watching the whole of this race. I know most of you who do watch these videos watch about 2 minutes of them, and if you're anything like me, that'll be 2 minutes of 10-second bits here and there, seeing if there's anything interesting. So if you're not particularly interested in actually watching the race, skip to the end. There's some weekly results in there and then some highlights. So I'm managing to keep on the shoulder of the, well, not the shoulder, the coattails, shall we say, of the guy in P2. But I do have a pack of cars chasing me down, and I am certainly not the quickest around this track out of the field. So I'm going to have to work hard to hold on to third place, I think. Now we've got a slightly better run through that corner, but P2's managed to hang on to that gap. So we've got 6/10 to make up. I'm now starting to look, where are the opportunities going to be, where am I going to be quicker. The guy in front is pretty quick all around compared to me. Obviously the guy up in first place is pulling away. and I don't think there's a great deal that I can do about that. But I am managing to gain some tenths on the guy in front of me, so let's see how we do. It's a 1.2 second gap to 4th place, so if I can hold that gap. Unfortunately, I had to brake a little bit differently to normal there because car number 6 in front holds a slightly different line through there and has a slightly different braking tolerance, I guess. So yeah, Ryan, who is in 4th, caught me up a little bit, but then must have made a mistake of some sort because he's now dropped back a second. So we're kind of concertinaing in this gap between 2nd and 4th. I think I've called the cars before by the positions, the colours, the numbers, but now that I've got this overlay up, which has been really interesting actually, I've not had this overlay before, so yeah, pretty handy. I've not actually used it in any races or anything, because I'm still working out how to do it with VR, because I race in VR, but it's really handy for these replays because I can throw it up and I can really analyse my driving, so I'm going to be using it quite a lot for my own training purposes moving forward, I think. And I'm going to start calling the drivers by name in these videos because they're real people and they've worked just as hard as I have to be on this track, and they're working just as hard as I am in this race, so let's call them by their names. So we've got Faisal up in front. He's doing quite well. He's maintaining a decent gap between me and him. Ryan is catching me up behind, and then Lucas behind him. So I've got 2 guys catching me up, and Faisal's slowly pulling away from me by a couple of tenths. And Ethan's just 3 seconds ahead and loving it. Living his best life up there up front. I think the only way anybody's going to catch him is if he really does make a mistake. Now, Ryan, the cheeky monkey, using me to turn around there. I think he was hoping to push me wide, but one thing I've learnt over the course of this season is that in certain circumstances where you are side by side like that, you can stick to your line. He's overtaking me, it's up to him to overtake me safely. If he wants to try and go shoulder to shoulder around that sweeping bend, there's a pretty low risk if we do touch that I'll go spinning off. Unfortunately, that next corner that came up after the straight, he got me on a good line down the inside, and that taught me pretty quickly in this race the line I need to take through that corner to defend it. So I made that mistake once, not going to make that mistake again. Unfortunately, because of that one mistake, I'm now back 2 places and sitting in 5th, and I'm 1.5 seconds behind Ryan now. So he's managed a 2 second swing just through those couple of corners thanks to my mistake. Really interesting stuff. It was really good learning experience making these videos, because you see yourself and your skill level and your decision making in the cold light of day, which is a very useful thing to do. Highly recommend it to anybody. All you 3 people that watch this video, go and make your own videos, even if they're just for you. Watch the replays, get some overlays if you haven't got them, chuck them up there, see how you're driving, because you'll find it incredibly useful. And Garage 61 is pretty damn useful as well. If you go to the Driver 61 website, I think you can find the links on there, or just Google Garage 61. It's the same people that came up with Trophy AI, the AI coaching thing, which is also super useful but comes at a cost, so you know, that's personal choice. But yeah, Garage 61 is free. You can sign up to it, or your laptop, it sits in the background on your computer, takes up bugger all resource, and chucks your lap times up on the internet, so you can see all your lap times from all the sessions you've done. Super useful, because you can compare them against other drivers. So you can compare your telemetry against what other drivers are doing, and it's really interesting to see just how much of a pussy I am around these tracks. Yeah, I need to man up and put my big boy trousers on, I think, for next season. There's no way I'm gonna get much better if I don't start driving like I mean it. And I'm starting to feel like I'm driving like that. I just don't think I'm actually quite there yet. Now these two up front are having a little scrap, and whilst they're fighting, I'm catching them up. So I'm now only half a second to P2. So yeah, sorry, P3 I should say. Oh, have we? Interesting. So we've obviously had a bit of a incident there. We've lost Hassan. Ryan's now decided that he likes going around corners sideways. This is the guy that was been catching me up most of the time, and then took me on those two corners after the first failed attempt. So I've managed to get past him thanks to his mistake. So, you know, that's karma, I think, in terms of keeping an equilibrium in the universe. I made a mistake, he made a mistake, and now we're back where we started. What I know now, though, is how he's going to attack me. I know he's a little bit quicker than me. I know I'm going to have to defend, and I know he likes this corner, and he holds it on the inside. So I thought I'd just drive down the middle. And then he's got a choice. He can either go super tight or he can go super wide. Now, I could see that he wasn't going for the inside, but I took quite a tight line through anyway. I turned in early because I wanted him to have to go all the way around the outside if he wanted to get the place. And I didn't think he was capable of doing that. So I've managed to hold on to third through that corner, and I'm well aware that he is in my mirrors and really sniffing around to try and get around me. So what I'm doing is I'm not doing anything special to defend around these corners other than drive the best racing line I know, that I'm capable of driving without cocking it up regularly. I still make mistakes, obviously, but I'm driving the line I know I can do consistently. I'm just making sure that I hit my braking markers, hit my turn markers, try and get good exits on the corner, although that wasn't quite as fast as I would have liked it to have been on the exit there, but still managing to keep a decent gap. And I'm thinking, as long as it's when he closes down to within like a tenth, that's when I need to worry about him going for that dive bomb. If he's closed the gap quite significantly on the approach to that corner, then he's going to go for it, because I've already seen he's quite an aggressive driver. You know, he's already rubbed doors with me once, and got me on the inside, and he's coming back up the inside here. So I didn't close the door on him so much that he would go off the track, but I closed the door enough that he would shit himself on that corner, and he did pull out. Fortunately for me, he couldn't quite make it stick. Now, a mistake from me there, and that allowed him to get right up my tail again. And this has turned into quite a tense race for me. I'm hanging on in there, trying to stay consistent. So far, I mean, I make a mistake every corner because my laps are not perfect, but I've not made any major mistakes so far. Trying to make sure I hang on to this corner again, and I know he's coming up behind me here. I know he's close. He's within a tenth. So let's drive down the middle again. Now I've made a little move to the left because I saw him, so I can't move again now. So I'm having to stick to that line. I'm not In the past, I've reacted to people trying to overtake me earlier on in the season, and I felt really bad about that because it's not the right thing to do. It's against the sporting code, and it's a natural reaction, but you shouldn't do it. It's dangerous. You wouldn't do it on a real life racing track if your car, your wallet and your life were at risk. So let's treat this seriously. Now Ryan's made a mistake back there, and he's had a bit of a wobble, and that has given me a half-second gap again, which I kind of needed because I'm not used to this level of pressure. With it being the 12th week of the season, I'm desperately trying to kind of have a good end to the season, but not just that. I've worked really hard over this season to build my iRating and build my championship points, because despite the fact that I've got targets that are about iRating and safety rating and that sort of thing, my main goal is championship points. I'm treating this like a race series. You know, drivers don't go out in the real world and give each other points for how good they're driving. They go out in the real world and they get points for where they finish in races. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm treating this as a racing series. I'm going for championship points. And I'm trying desperately to hang on to a position that will get me a good score for this week. I'm not having much time this week to race, so I need to make sure that the races I do have count. Now we're on lap 11. I'm hanging on. I noticed behind me there Ryan made a bit of a mistake, which sets him back and unfortunately lets Hassan through. And I say unfortunately, good for Hassan. He was right there to take advantage of it. But I feel bad for Ryan because he's been fighting the whole race, and it's kind of been a battle between me, him and Hassan really for this third spot. And luckily for me, I made my mistakes early on, whereas Ryan made his mistake right at the 11th hour on the 11th lap. And there we go, end of the race. Now that I thoroughly enjoyed that race. I didn't know how much fun it was actually defending. Yes, it's stressful, but actually a really fun part of racing is kind of not only thinking about how you can get past the people in front of you, but how can you maintain track position. And yeah, that was a great race. Really enjoyed that. P3, 75 championship points for this week, where against a good strength of field, I'm more than happy with that. So how have we done this week then? I've had 3 races. I've come 4th, 3rd and 4th. So the 3rd place one is where I've obviously taken the replay from. We've now got a good solid iRating increase because of the strength of field and everything else and the positions I'm coming in. Safety rating's kind of leveled out and it's all good. Let's take a look at some highlights.